They came together as a sort of satire film trying to be the rom-com of all rom-coms, and where it sort of takes that approach of The Naked Gun and Scary Movies, where it's spoofing off all of these other romantic comedies, but in more of the sense that Cabin in the Woods did it, where it's not just spoofing them, but it's trying to do all of the cliches and be the one to say, you know what, enough is enough. And what you have in this movie is that you have the future Ant-Man, and you also have Leslie Knope having dinner with another couple, who you may have seen in another comedy or two, and the way that they started off is that the other couple's talking about how their marriage is going great and they want to know about the main characters, and the main characters go, well, you know what, it's sort of a long story, it's very cliche, you know what, it's sort of like a movie. So they started off like that. So let's say if your love story was a movie, would it start off with an aerial shot of New York? Well, of course. So they started off with an aerial shot of New York, and throughout you have all of these other cliches that happen. You have the whole idea of her owning her own shop, and then him being this big corporate guy. You have that other element of his group of friends who are always playing like a sport, always basketball, and that he's supposed to be like the best out of all of them. They're all just bits and pieces of him. There's the other one where they always have to break up with each other, and they always have that whole getting back together, then dealing with the exes, and the exes breaking up with them or doing something very cliche, and then wanting that second chance, and many other cliches that happen throughout that may be from any of those movies, or even ones that had it, you know, originally. But of course the movie's making fun of that fact that there's so many cliches that just happen all the time. It's just when you go see these movies, it's bound to have one of these elements throughout with it. And the thing is that the whole thing's supposed to be a joke. Now, the plot-wise, they definitely don't intend to have that be taken seriously whatsoever. It's as serious as Anchorman 1 or 2, and I have seen some people who are like, this just doesn't make sense for someone to do this and that, and it's like, that's not what they're making fun of. Again, it's like the scary movies. There's not supposed to be a plot there. The whole thing that it's supposed to be judged on is whether it's funny or not, and that it can be judged on because there are some moments where it is, there are some moments where it's not. For the story, they really don't care. Literally, the synopsis that they have, I mean, just look at the poster and the different things that they have with there, but the synopsis is even, hey, you know, they get together, they break up. Do we want to spoil it? It doesn't matter. They get back together. They don't care. However, the thing is whether they handle those things, you know, in a hilarious way or not. There are moments where it is funny. They have some things that are very, you know, quick, and they make fun of that cliche, and you're like, I get it. I've seen that in a movie before. There are other things where they make it a reoccurring joke. Some I thought were funny, like every time someone gives advice, like they always do in the movies, when the person's about to leave who the advice was given to, they always go, wait, thanks, man. And they do that continually throughout the movie. However, there are other moments where, because it's so, you know, trying to just break all of these cliches, that it doesn't take itself seriously whatsoever, that there are some jokes that just, like, I get the point of it, you know, it's trying to say that these things are always happening, so I get the idea of it, but if it's not funny, it's not funny. You know, they have things where Amy Poehler's character is just falling down. There are some other jokes that drag where someone's saying, you can say that again, tell me about it. You can say that again, tell me about it. And it almost feels like the director just wants to make the audience very angry. However, it's when they get to those moments where they're just making this joke and dragging it out, they're not stopping it, and it gets to the point where it's just embarrassing because it's not so funny, that one of the characters sort of re-breaks that fourth wall and goes, I don't know what the heck you're doing right now or what you're talking about. And it catches you off guard and you're like, oh, that's funny. At least you're self-aware of it. But then later on they'll get back into that whole muddle of saying a joke or dragging something out that's just not as funny. Because of course it's not the story that you're in there for. It's all about whether it's going to make you laugh or not. And there is a lot of different cameos that come throughout, and a lot of different actors and actresses that you may have seen in a lot of other, especially comedy TV shows. But there's also two cameos that happen. There's some other ones, but the two that really stood out to me is one of the ex-boyfriends that comes out towards the end of the film, and I was surprised that they got him. The one that I thought was funnier is a cameo that's attached to Kobe Smolder's character, like literally attached to Kobe Smolder's character, and I thought that that was pretty funny because I was even more surprised that they got this person to be in it. But overall, I did think that it was an interesting idea. I just felt that all the moments where they have those jokes that are just not funny whatsoever sort of bring the movie down. But I do think that it's worth checking out if you see it like on Netflix or on Redbox or something like that, because it does have some funny jokes. At no point do the two main actors ever reach the level of funniness that I know that they can reach, but I did like the whole spoofs and trying to figure out where they were trying to get that cliche from because of that. But definitely let me know if you were able to check this movie out, what you thought about it, whether you hated it, let me know down below, and whether you liked it, definitely let me know what your favorite joke was in the comment section. Let me know about this movie and any others, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.